Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Week 18 Point Spread live stream here at fantasypoints.com. If you are not at fantasypoints.com or are not a fantasypoints.com subscriber, well, you will not believe what we have in store for you. This is a free point spread live stream, just like our DFS show, which is our Tom, we've got a bunch of premier live streams, and you and I are down the totem pole. I'll tell you that much. But this is we're going free for the dozens and dozens of Dolan and Brolley lovers. But if you want our premium, well, there it is. It's right there on the bottom, Tom. You see it there? The super.
Yeah, I see it scrolling across there. 30% off. Holy moly! We're giving this side away for free.
It's so dumb. I mean, come on. You get the playoffs and the Super Bowl and all the betting content and all the fantasy content.
You get next year's playoffs too.
Yeah, you get the free. Yeah, you get the free agency. You get the NFL draft, and you get 30% off.
It never ends. It never ends. The season just continues to go.
Should be 30% more. Anyway, you get 30% off the Super Early Bird Special, whether you're a current Fantasy Point subscriber or not. Go in. That ends after the Super Bowl. You want to get in on that, Tom. We're going to have all kinds of playoff content. It is good to be with you. Tom, we have reached the top. It is Week 18. I could not be happier. Playoff time. I know if you're a fan of football, sitting down watching the playoffs is great, but Tom, I just bought a new television.
There you go. Watching it in style. Business expense. I like that. You're gonna write that off for taxes.
Yeah. Did you see it, Tom? I
did not see it. I have not seen it.
It's a 65-inch OLED. So.
Oh, I thought you were like talking about 13-inch, like for your 65-inch. Whoa. I think I got like a 50-inch.
Hey, Tom, TV. I got to compensate for some other things, man.
Oh, yeah. Go big or go home, right?
Yeah. So, anyway, it's Week 18. Welcome, everybody. My name's Joe Dolan. His name's Tom Brolley. We're going to go as we do every week. And, Tom, we're going to do this in the playoffs, too, and that'll be for subscribers. I'm thinking we're going to do Saturday mornings. It's either going to be Friday afternoons or Saturday mornings for the point spread, just talking, because there's going to be lots of props and stuff like that to break down for those games.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I mean, we can even do it Saturday. Whatever. I'm available. I'd rather do it Saturday, honestly. I kind of like to relax a little bit Friday afternoon. I don't get to do that too much during the season. So, we'll do it Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. We'll figure out a time, but we'll be with you. Obviously there's a lot fewer games during the playoffs, so that'll be a quicker version. But we can go a little deeper on the props. We're not a whole lot of props out there for this weekend.
Yeah,
there's so many limited situations, but there have been a couple that have trickled out here, so we can do them. But this will probably be a quicker version of what we typically do during the season here, since it's a little bit pared down. Still waiting on some situations to play out for these Week 18 games.
So here's what we do. We go game by game. We talk about the point spread, the total, and any props that are interesting to Tom, who does the weekly research. And then I'll occasionally chime in with something that says, that looks off to me. But Tom's the guy who really does the in-depth research. Tom, and we're going to kick off tomorrow, Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That's Kansas City at Denver. Kansas City laying 10.5 on the road. 45 is the total. Drew Lock will start for Denver. And Andy Reid, he is a militant starter rester, does not have that luxury this week against the Denver Broncos, because the Kansas City Chiefs do need to play to win. In the event Tennessee loses, they can get the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, Titans lost to the Texans earlier this season. I think it was a 9-point game, and Tannehill had 4 turnovers in the game. It was in Nashville as well, so it's not a lock that the Titans beat the Texans, and so I would imagine Kansas City is going to be full effort here, at least for as long as this game's competitive. I could see them kind of leaning a little bit more on the run if they build up a big lead. They don't want to put Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce at risk if they're up 2 or 3 scores late in the game. I could see them going a little bit more conservative. That's why I'm on Patrick Mahomes under his passing prop 273. That line has dropped a little bit. I am a little scared though with the Denver
corners.
Yes, Denver cornerbacks. I took that bet before. What we get, Darby and Surtain.
Surtain and Darby are both out. Yep.
Yeah, they're both out, and I think Kareem Jackson's also out in the safety. So a little bit undermanned here. I'm surprised the line hasn't moved a little bit more. It was sitting at 10 most of the week, and then we've had the Denver issues there. Drew Lock is obviously starting again this week. The injuries in the secondary for Denver. They do get some bodies back here. They're getting Judy back. They're getting Tim Patrick back. But this line, there's a 10.5 at DraftKings. It's 11 most other places, but I wouldn't be surprised if this moves up to 11.5. So I'm on the Chiefs side for ATS pool, but not a real strong.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like the kind of game where the Chiefs are going to mess around to me.
No, I could see that. I mean, maybe the way to look at it is maybe a first half line. Honestly, go bet the Chiefs. I don't know what the first half line is. I would imagine it's probably like 6.5 or something. Maybe that's the way to go to bet on the Chiefs to jump out big. They don't want to screw around in this one.
Yeah. Tom, I'm not showing many props for the Broncos. I'm only showing, Drew Lock, Javonte Williams, and Noah Fant, actually. They don't have any of the wide receivers up just yet.
Yeah, I was looking at the Fant under. It was 40.5 when I was looking at it earlier today.
38.5 now.
Oh, it is up down to 38.5. Shit. Yeah, should have jumped on it. But, I'm on the Mahomes prop, and then I got the Byron Pringle. 35.5 was what it came out on Thursday morning is when I saw it down on DraftKings. But I still think there's a 34.5 at FanDuel when I was looking around. So if you want to jump on that Pringle one, he kind of fell behind Demarcus Robinson last week, ran the third most routes. And still a relatively tough matchup against Vic Fangio's defense. So I kind of like the Pringle under. That was as high as I've seen his receiving yards this year.
Dallas at Philadelphia. This is Saturday night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Dallas laying 4.5 on the road, Tom. This was as high as 7.5 earlier in the week. And then Dallas made some comments like, we're going to play to win. The line has dropped back down to 4.5. The Eagles have made no commitments whatsoever to playing their starters in this game. Tom, if Jalen Hurts and the boys play more than a series or two, I would be surprised. And now with the line dropping 7 to 4.5, I think the markets are also now expecting Dallas to not go all out in this game.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit of a hedge because I don't think the books really know what to expect from either team here. Dallas is saying a lot of stuff that they're going to play their guys. Didn't they play their guys? I don't know if it was last year, maybe the year before against the Giants. It was kind of a surprising spot where they played a lot of their starters in the last week of the season. So maybe we're in that situation again. I just don't see much of an upshot for the Cowboys playing their starters for the game here, especially with Gallup getting hurt last week, tearing his ACL. They're going to need a lot of things to happen to really get up to that 2 seed, which is what they're really playing for. I don't see much of a difference between the 3 and the 4 seed. So I'm on the Eagles side here for that, but this is I'm not going anywhere near this game. I just don't have a lot of whole interest in it.
Well, I mean, look, if the Eagles play their backups, you probably Gardner Minshew, you'd probably rate as one of the top backup quarterbacks in the league. So if both teams rest their starters, I mean, if you were to come out here and say if both teams,
Cooper Rush has played pretty well this year.
He did play good. That is true. But I was wondering with the Eagles at home. If both teams were to come out and say not a single starter is going to take a snap on offense, what would the line be in this game?
Yeah, probably 2.5, or maybe something. But I'm going with the Eagles. I think both teams are probably going to rest guys at some point. It's just a matter of how much they actually play. Is it the Eagles and the Cowboys? Are they out there for the first half only? I just don't know what to expect here. This is the type of game I'm just not going to go bet. There's too much uncertainty. Maybe we'll get more information tomorrow. Maybe that changes things, but this is just a game I'm going to stay away from.
Yeah, the Eagles activated Jason Kelce off the COVID list. There is rampant speculation. He has 100+ start streak going, and Eagle media is basically sitting here saying, "Yeah, I think they're gonna give him the first snap and they're gonna call a timeout and just get a standing ovation.
get that streak going still." Yeah. So I mean, it's that kind of game. There could be some weird stuff going on in this game throughout.
Yeah. All right, let's go now to Sunday slate of games, 1:00 p.m. Eastern. Tom, they're saying they're playing their starters. Vegas does not fucking believe them. The Green Bay Packers are laying 3.5 on the road at Detroit, 45 the total. This would be 12, 13, 14 points if Green Bay was playing their starters.
Yeah, but I also still feel like this is a bit of a hedge still. Like, if we knew for sure that Devontae Adams and Rodgers and, the Backstone Jones and A.J. Dillon, all their key players were out of this game, I think Detroit would be favored or at least close to a pick 'em. So I do think it's at least a little bit of a hedge. I personally took the Lions side on this for, our staff picks for ATS polls. They've been pretty feisty all, the second half of this year anyway. Jared Goff, it looks like he's going to play. DeAndre Swift's been back in the mix here. So I kind of see, it seems like, with all the bullshit with Aaron Rodgers this week with the MVP, I do think they would like to get him, maybe 2 touchdown passes in the first half and pull him out of there and build that. It seems like they really are taking that award very serious here. So I think this is a bit of a hedge by Vegas, putting it in this 3.5 zone. I lean towards the Lions side, though. They've been competitive. And, if we do get the Packers pulled at some point, maybe they can. But it's competing interests here. Do the Lions really want to win this game? I don't know.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell's, they've been very competitive throughout this season, but if they win and something would happen, that would cost them a higher pick, it wouldn't be the best looking Detroit either. So we have two sides that that we don't know what their reasoning is for playing guys or sitting guys this week.
Obviously, no props are up for this game. No player props at all. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Indianapolis needs to win and in. Well, they're 15-point favorites on the road. 44 is the total. Jonathan Taylor, I believe, is 267 yards away from 2,000. Lest you laugh. Week 17 last year, he ran for 253 and 2 touchdowns against the Jaguars. 2 touchdowns will get Jonathan Taylor to 20 on the season as well. Plenty of player props available for this one because, well, they expect both teams to be playing all out. The Jaguars, just because they're dead and, you want to try to get one good performance in here. And the Colts because they need to play to win.
Yeah, this is a line. It's definitely a bit inflated here. But, after what going up to New England and just giving up 50 points and looking completely dead, it looks like they've put a stamp on it and mailed it in. But, well, I took the Jaguars side in this. It does feel a bit inflated here. I think it should be probably closer to just a flat 2 touchdowns here. So maybe there's a little bit of value on the Jaguars side, but this is a game. Probably would only bet on the Colts or just pass it. I'm picking the Jaguars for ATS poll purposes, but I don't feel very great backing the Jaguars after the way they've played here in the second half of the season. And, it's just been a complete lost season for Trevor Lawrence here. And we got all the reports coming out this week about all the guys they're interviewing, Bill O'Brien and Byron Leftwich and Kellen Moore. And so they're a team that's already moved on. They're already looking to the future here. So you have to worry about their motivation as well in this game.
Tom, I got to be honest. I like the Jonathan Taylor over 113.5.
I know. It's a
high number, but I like it.
Yeah, I do think our projections on them might be a little bit low. I think they're just going to, after last week, I don't think they're screwing around. They're just going to feed him the ball, try to build a big lead here. I see him being very active, early in this game and trying to get out to a big lead here. They do not want to put this game on Wentz's shoulders, even though they're going to have to do that at some point in the playoffs. But I don't see them screwing around here. Taylor is going to be very involved here. I would look towards the over on that one too as well.
Washington at the Giants. Washington laying 7. I mean, that just shows you where they are with the Giants right now. Jake Fromm starting at quarterback. What a disaster. 37.5 the total. Washington laying 7 on the road. Tom, I'm not showing any props for this game right now.
Yeah, I want to go back to the last one. I gave out Laquan Treadwell over 38.5. You had a great stat on that earlier this week, didn't you? With the guys that have had 6 games with 50 or more receiving yards.
Yeah, it's like here's the list. Let me see if I can find the tweet because
it's Cup, Debo, Justin Jefferson. The names on it.
Here it is.
Who?
Here are all the players who have recorded a streak of 6 games or more with 50 receiving yards this season. It's a streak, so it's not just 6 games, but in a row. Cooper Kupp, Deontay Johnson, Deebo Samuel, Mark Andrews, Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, he has 2 of them, and Laquan Treadwell.
All those guys, besides Waddle, were picked in the first 5 or 6 rounds of fantasy drafts. All the guys expected it there. So good on Laquan Treadwell. 38.5 yards is his prop this week. I ended up taking that. But, the Washington Giants game this week.
It's Washington or bust for me, Tom. I can't bet on the Giants.
Yeah, and I'm on the Washington side. I got it 6.5 earlier this week. It was one of those, I knew there was going to be no money coming in on the Giants this week. I wouldn't be surprised if it settles at 7.5, 8 by Sunday. I just don't see anybody lining up to bet this Giants team. It's toxic in, the media right now with Joe Judge and his spiel after the game, just basically talking about how great he is and just trying to keep his job. And, we know Gettleman's probably out this year. There's going to be some house cleaning. Just no Jake Fromm is back and being a quarterback here. Mike Glennon has been horrific, but anytime we've seen Fromm, it's been pretty ugly. They were basically surrendering last week. They ran basically 4 times as many run plays as they did pass plays last week. And that was in a game that they lost by 4 scores. So it's just a team that's completely given up on the season. Oh. And I think Washington it was ugly against Dallas a couple weeks ago, but for the most part, I still think they're fighting for Rivera. Taylor Heineke's a guy that's, could be a journeyman. He wants to stick around in the league. So I think he wants to put one more good game on tape. So I think Washington at least has a little bit of motivation to beat the piss out of the Giants here this week.
Yeah, and I mean, they're going into the new era. They're going to announce the new team name with the new uniforms, give a little positivity for the franchise. Tom, I mean, this is just an example of Glennon v. Fromm. I'm looking at Mike Glennon. He threw 93 yards on 27 attempts against the Eagles a couple weeks ago, including a pick 6, and he significantly outplayed Jake Fromm in that game.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, that just shows you.
That game last week, though, Glennon, it was like an immediate turnover. The Bears score. It was like an immediate turnover. Yeah, it's an embarrassment right now for Giants fans. I can't imagine them wanting to watch this game. I know there's some boycotts on the game. It's going to be a pretty empty stadium there as well. So no home field advantage for the Giants here in this game either.
Chicago at Minnesota, 2 teams that are dead in the water. You've got a Chicago team, Tom, that we don't know who's playing quarterback. You got Minnesota. I mean, I would say with the exception of going to the playoffs, this is a team maybe alongside Denver that has as much to play for as anything because Kirk Cousins is playing maybe for his future and certainly Mike Zimmer playing for his future. Minnesota -5.5 at home, 43.5 the total in Minneapolis. Chicago at Minnesota.
Yeah, I picked Chicago for our staff picks, but this is a game I just don't have a whole lot of interest in. From we just a couple weeks ago with Justin Fields at quarterback. It was a 17-3 game. I think it was Jesper Horsted got a touchdown in the last play of the game. But Chicago certainly had plenty of chances to score in the second half of that game. I know Darnell Mooney almost scored. He almost had the circus catch in the end zone. So they certainly had their chances in that game, and that's why I'm kind of leaning Chicago. I actually think if it's Dalton, kind of gives them I give them a little bit of a boost in terms of ratings here. I think he gives them a little bit better chance to compete here, and they've been fairly competitive here. Even though they don't have much to play for. Matt Nagy's going to be out the door here very soon, so I'm leaning towards Chicago here. I just don't know, the motivation of Minnesota here. I know this could be the last game. This could be the last era, last game of the era for Mike Zimmer and Kirk Cousins. But, this team had pretty high expectations. I could see them being kind of dead. That was a deflating game last week as well. I just worry about them just being completely flat for this game and not really showing up. And, Zimmer got, people loved his like Kellen Mond thing earlier this week, but I don't know how that exactly sits, with the rest of the players and, basically just taking a dump on a guy you draft in the third round. So we'll see here. I'm leaning towards the Chicago side, but this is a game I'm not really looking to get involved with.
Oh, I'm only showing 3 players with props in this game, and that's Cousins, Cook, and Jefferson. Akeem Hicks will be out for the Bears, by the way, which is probably good news for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a pretty big injury. He's a big difference maker on the defensive line there. But yeah, I didn't really see money in the props here, whether I went through earlier today. So no big takes on the props for this game.
Let's go to Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cincinnati is catching 6 on the road. Joe Burrow has already said he's not going to play. I do wonder, does that change if the Chiefs lose? I'm guessing not. The Bengals have just an outside shot to be the 1 seed in the AFC. And there's a lot of uphill climbing with the 2 teams. They need to lose, 10-plus point favorites. But they're catching 6 in Cleveland, 38 the total, looking like it's going to be Brandon Allen against Case Keenum.
Yeah, I was fortunate to get on this line when the Browns were +3 on Wednesday. The news kind of came out there. They had a couple guys go on the COVID list, including Joe Mixon. So as soon as I saw that happen, I was like, this just feels like one of those situations where, we don't want to trot out Joe Burrow behind, offensive line that could be down a couple guys. No Joe Mixon. It's probably going to be a pretty meaningless game overall. There's things can happen. Chiefs and the Titans could lose, but not great odds of it happening. So, and we saw at the end of last week, Burrow did something to his knee. He sat out for the last 2 plays of the game. They were just kneel downs for them to set up the field goal for the game-winning kick there. But obviously something happened there. So let him rest up here. Didn't get to play a full season last year. Spent a lot of time rehabbing over the offseason. So it makes a lot of sense just to give him a week here going into the playoffs to rest. So now that this line, it was +3, so it moved 9 points. Sitting at 6 here. I don't have a whole lot of interest laying 6 points with the Browns at this point. Probably take my chances with the Bengals getting 6 points, even with Brandon Allen at quarterback. Sounds like Chase could play. It sounds like they. I should have included this in the game notes. I didn't realize that he was it's 12 yards away. I think it is from.
He's 45 yards away from the rookie record.
Well, the team record though for receiving yards in a season, which is I think why they might be wanting to play, because they asked him today. They asked Zach Taylor if he was going to play, and it sounded like they were still thinking about it. So it sounds like they might play him just to get over this receiving yards record. I don't know if it's Chad Johnson's or Hushmanzada's, but so that's something to watch. So if you're thinking of, if you're playing in your fantasy leagues or whatever you're doing DFS, sounds like that might be the only motivation for Chase this week. So be aware, that just because they say he might be in, might not be for long. So, but yeah, this game, I don't think there's many props out for this game just yet.
There's none. So
yeah, I was gonna say I didn't see anything this morning, so we don't have to spend too much more on this game.
Tennessee at Houston. Tennessee -10, 42.5 the total. In Houston, Tennessee obviously has everything to play for. You win, you're the number 1 seed, and you get a bye week to get this team 100% healthy.
Yeah, and we saw Derrick Henry out there practicing this week. It looks like he's ramping up to be ready for the divisional round. If they would have to play in the wild card round, it looks like he might be able to go as well. But I'm sure they would love to. They would much prefer to play, save him for the divisional round with a bye. This line it's actually moved a little bit towards the Texans here this week. Texans have gotten some support here. They're playing pretty hard for David Culley. They were tight with the 49ers last week for, a good chunk of that game. And then they couldn't do much on offense against San Francisco's defense. We'll see if they're able to do it this week. San Francisco and Tennessee actually, they have pretty similar type of defenses. You're going to struggle to run the ball, and then you got to do it through the air. Davis Mills has played better, but he had a bit of a down game against San Francisco there last week. But I'm on the Texans side in this game, 10.5. The Titans feel, it's a bit of, that's why I think Vrabel should be the favorite. I think Zach Taylor's the favorite for the year, but it's been a bit of a smoke and mirrors job with the Titans, just pulling out these victories. And I kind of like the Texans side. They gave them a lot of troubles earlier this season. The Texans won that game, turned over, Tannehill 4 times in that game. I kind of like getting the points with Texans. I don't think I'm going to be necessarily betting this game, but it was kind of on my short list. I was considering it. I do kind of like the Texans this week.
Mike Vrabel on Derrick Henry. We have some time to make that decision. He looked good. We continue to track his speed and mileage and volume. We'll see where he's at tomorrow and how he responds. I still feel like I'd be surprised if he plays.
Yeah, I can't see it this week. I think they'd rather, take a little bit extra time to get him ready, but we'll see how it plays out. That would be interesting. I guess that would probably move the line. He's, one of the few backs that really moves the line. I think this line would probably move to 11.5 maybe if he would decide to play. So keep an eye on that. But I have a feeling they're just saving him for the postseason here. They don't want to waste any bullets on him. And Foreman's done a good job. I mean, it's not like he's obviously not Derrick Henry, but for one more game, I think he can ride Foreman and save the bullets for the playoffs with Derrick Henry.
By the way, Matt Nagy has announced that Andy Dalton will start for the Bears.
So I think that's a pretty good, he's the best of the 3 options for Chicago, betting on Chicago. I would be surprised if this line moves a little bit here. But we'll see how the markets feel about it. Maybe the markets, prefer some Fields, but in my own personal, the way I view it, I think the Bears are a better bet whenever Andy Dalton's in the lineup.
Yeah. Any props that you liked from Tennessee and Houston?
I grabbed Julio Jones, just fading Julio Jones. 33.5 was the number at FanDuel. It's 29.5 at DraftKings and some other books, but so shop around, get the best number on that. But 1 target in each of his last 2 games. Coming off COVID, he didn't play last week on the COVID list, so we tend to, at least the last couple of weeks, we try to fade guys coming off the COVID list, bet their unders. So a couple of things going against Julio Jones, and this has been a very run-heavy team as well here. So going to continue to fade Julio Jones here under 33.5 on his receiving yards prop.
Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Pittsburgh catching 3.5 in what is likely to be Ben Roethlisberger's final game in a Pittsburgh uniform. 41 the total. Pittsburgh and Baltimore each still have an outside shot at the postseason. So we do have some props up for this game.
Yeah, this is it was up to like 5.5, 6 early in the week when it looked like Lamar Jackson might play. I think the Ravens are just cutting their losses here, letting them rest up the offseason. He's sitting out. It's going to be Tyler Huntley. So this line has moved from 5.5, 6 down to 3.5 here, pretty much across the board here. I gave out the Steelers side 4.5. Not feeling great after watching that team the last, basically all season here. But in recent weeks, Ben Roethlisberger's coming off his worst performance of his career in his last game at Pittsburgh. So now he probably won't have Deontay Johnson. We'll see about his availability, but he was a pretty late. That was Wednesday, I think he went on the COVID list. So he might have an outside shot of playing, but not exactly expecting a big effort from him in this game. So I think the Steelers might have a little bit more motivation in this game, but this is 2 teams that just want to beat each other. This is a big time rivalry game here. So I do think both teams are going to be going at it, but I'll take the points with the Pittsburgh side. TJ Watt's playing at a really high level right now. Their pass rush is still playing really well. So I'll side with the Steelers here, but don't feel great about backing Ben Roethlisberger right now.
Anything that you liked here, Tom, with the props? I mean, Ben at 225.5. I know it's a good matchup, but boy. Oh
yeah, I got it. That was at 235.5 earlier today. I had to do like a double take on that. I hit the under on that one as soon as I saw that one. I'm not surprised that it's falling here. As I laid out, it was awful on Monday, despite him, getting the big send off and everything. It was his worst game of his career. And this has been like a 3-week thing. He hasn't topped, I think, 160 yards in the last 3 games. And if you take Deontay Johnson out of the mix, I mean, this game could be brutal. So still at 225.5. I'd still like the under on that number. Glad I got it at 235.5. But yeah, I'm not looking to back Ben Roethlisberger right now. Taking the unders on his props.
New Orleans at Atlanta. New Orleans laying 3.5 on the road. 39.5 is the total here. By the way, this is the first start of the late slate of games. New Orleans needs to win and needs San Francisco to lose. That is what's favored to happen right now based on the point spreads, Tom. So New Orleans laying 3.5 in Atlanta, 39.5 the total.
Yeah, this is a big game here. The Falcons went into the Superdome I think that was late November. Kind of stunned them there. They beat the Saints. This line has been trickling down here. I think all the motivation was on the Saints side. They thought the bettors have been back in the Falcons here. They've been still competitive here. I don't think this is kind of similar, I think, to the Ravens Steelers game. Falcons don't necessarily have anything to play for, but they want to beat their rivals. They would like to be the ones that kind of end their bid for playoff bid. So I took the Falcons side. It was at 4 whenever we did our staff picks. It's 3.5 pretty much across the board. I prefer the Falcons on this game.
Any props that you like from this game? I'm looking at we don't really have I'm not showing any Falcons props at all, just all Saints props right now. Not even Matt Ryan. I think we're waiting on Kyle Pitts and what's going on there with the Falcons, but I'm showing only Saints props.
Yeah, I didn't see anything really interesting. I think the for Taysom Hill was at like 211. They didn't really have much in terms of the receivers whenever I looked earlier today. It looks like Cowboys at 47.5. That one's kind of interesting to me. But I don't love betting overs with this passing game right now. But Cowboys kind of been a guy that's stepped up the last 3 or 4 weeks, and he's kind of been Taysom Hill's guy here. So that's at least interesting. I'll go back and double check that one. But nothing really stood out from these player props for the Saints side right now.
The Jets at Buffalo, 16.5. Buffalo laying at home, 40.5 the total. Buffalo needs to win the AFC East. The Bills, 16.5 point favorites at home. They have had some stinkers against bad teams, and the Jets have been a little feisty of late.
Yeah, it depends on where you're looking at the spreads, but push or they didn't cover against the Falcons last week. That game was at 14.5. Josh Allen threw 3 interceptions and threw for 120 yards, and they still won by 2 touchdowns. Jets, the Jets have been better here. It's Zach Wilson. Listen to Greg and John, and Greg is a little bit optimistic about the way Zach Wilson's played, and you can see it in the numbers. They're getting a little bit better here, so maybe some good things are starting to happen here for the Jets, and they've been pretty good against the number the last 3 weeks. They've been horrific all season. I think they had just 2 covers, and then they've won. I think they've covered 3 games in a row here. Had the Buccaneers on the ropes. They did that bizarre QB sneak on the 4th and 2 play at the 7-yard line. Didn't convert, but still cover numbers here. I'm backing the Jets here. As you said, the Bills. This feels a bit inflated. This is another line, just like that Jaguar. We're paying a tax here for these teams that have a little bit to play for against these shitty teams. This is probably a 2-point tax here. This probably should be a 14.5 point line. So I'm going to take it here with a Jets team that I think's starting to show some signs of life here. Wish he had a little bit more help at receiver. Looks like Crowder's going to be back, but Berrios and
Moore are both out.
Yeah, we couldn't get Moore back in the last couple of weeks. I wanted to see another game or 2 out of him. He was pretty promising stretch in the middle of the season. Wanted to see another game or 2 out of him. But maybe that's better for us for fantasy next year, that we don't get like a 150-yard game out of him in the season finale and his fantasy draft price would have risen by 2 rounds. So maybe it'll be good for us in the long run.
Anything that you liked on the prop side here? The only jet I'm showing is Michael Carter outside of Zach Wilson. So, I have Tyler Kroft as well. I'm showing him.
Yeah, I didn't see, there was a pretty limited market when I was looking at it earlier. I was interested in the Diggs stuff. He's got some incentives on his contract. I think he unlocks $650,000 if he gets 6 catches, gets to 100 catches for the season. I think he has a receiving yards incentive as well, but it's pretty substantial. I don't think he's going to get to that number, but so I was interested on his. It's 74.5. He's been, he's been floating around that number. Not too interested to go on. This is another one of those games. This is kind of like that Chiefs game on Saturday. That if they do go out to a big lead, I could see them kind of ride Devin Singletary and or Zach Moss or whoever they have active, just wanting to get this game into the barn and not. They're not. I don't think they want to do the 12 design runs that with Josh Allen here, like they've been doing in recent weeks. So I didn't see anything on the initial run through, but I'll double back here tomorrow and see if anything else pops out.
San Francisco at LA, 4.5. LA laying at home, 44.5 the total. And obviously, LA is playing for the division. San Francisco is playing for its playoff life. We don't know who's starting at quarterback for San Francisco. Ergo, the prop market is very limited. Also don't know about Elijah Mitchell at this point.
Yeah, this is the question marks are on the 49ers side. Yeah, we got to find out who's going to be quarterback here. Jimmy Garoppolo has been getting in some limited practices, but sounds like he's dealing with some pain in that throwing thumb. So we'll see. It kind of feels like it's probably going to be Lance, but we'll see how it goes. I took it 5.5 earlier this week, just thinking that it probably settles in at 5.5, 6 points if it's Lance. But it's trickled down to 4. It's bounced back up to 4.5 here on Friday. So feels like if we do get Lance news, it's probably going to be some Rams money coming in here. If we get Garoppolo, maybe it settles back in at 4. But I still do like the 49ers side. Shanahan's kind of, he's really had Sean McVay's number here in recent years. They've won 5 straight games. Blew them out on that Monday Night Football game. They had that long drive on the first series of the game. I think they went 90 yards. And they ate up basically the entire first quarter with that drive. So the 49ers have kind of had Sean McVay's number. I do think from a motivation standpoint, the 49ers they're in the more do or die situation here. So I think they're going to throw the kitchen sink in here. But why isn't this game on Saturday night? This is the game that should have been, let's get that. Do we still have time to flex out that stupid Cowboys?
I'm guessing that's because that night? One. Yeah, I know the Eagles. I thought you meant Sunday night, and I was like, no, the Eagles Cowboys won.
No. I love that Chargers Raiders game. That's perfect for Sunday night.
I don't know why they put this.
But why not this game on Saturday night? I mean, this would have been perfect.
Well, I think the reason is because they don't want the Cardinals to know whether or not.
Yeah, and the Saints too as well.
Yeah, that's why they didn't do it. Carolina at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay laying 8 at home, 41.5 the total. Tom, no props for this one.
Yeah, I
don't know what Tampa Bay is going to do. I mean, they say they might play their guys. I think it's stupid if they do.
Yeah, this is a game Vegas has no goddamn idea what to do with the line. If Tampa Bay, was for sure playing all their best guys, and we certainly have the Antonio Brown situation hanging over their heads all week here. This should be a 13.5, 14-point line, but this is another one where Vegas is kind of hedging here. Panthers are beat to shit too, though. Robbie Anderson's going to miss this game. Gilmore's out. They have a couple key pieces out for the Panthers here as well. So I'm going to lay it with the Buccaneers for stat picks. Just thinking that this is a little bit low of a number if the Buccaneers do go all out. Panthers haven't shown much fight anyway, so But yeah, you're right, Joe. We don't know exactly what the motivations are for the Buccaneers.
How could you possibly lay a bet on this game right now? I don't know.
I would want no part of it. And yeah, Vegas, they've completely thrown their hands up on this game. They don't know what to do with it. Putting it here at 8, kind of in the middle here. If we knew that Brady wasn't playing, it'd probably still be the Buccaneers by, probably 2 or 3 points. But they're just throwing it right there at 8. If people want to make a decision and place a bet, that's what they're saying. Good luck. You can do with it this line whatever you want.
Let's go to the next game on the board. It's Seattle at Arizona. Oh, excuse me, New England at Miami. New England laying 6 on the road. New England, an outside shot, not just at the AFC East, but also a minuscule shot at the number 1 seed. 39.5 the total. They expect a very low-scoring game, as has been the case in the recent years in this series.
Yeah, this is at least the last 3 games here, dating back to last year, all gone under. I mean, they've been low totals as well, sitting in the low 40s. This is as low as it's gotten here. This line's probably a bit inflated to the Patriots here. If Miami had something to play for, it'd probably be a 3.5, 4-point line. But you got to wonder about the motivations of Miami. They just got embarrassed last.
They do have all the motivation to win because they don't have their first-round pick. Miami.
That's true, but you have to wonder, what they got left in the tank. They go on a 7-game win streak to get back into the playoff hunt. Think that they're, still alive. They kind of control their own destiny going into that game last week and go and get absolutely smoked by the Titans. So just have to wonder what they have. They're what's left in the mental tank for them going into this game. And this defense, I know that the Dolphins did go to Foxborough winning this game earlier this year, but Patriots defense is a different unit at this point. Mac Jones is more of a finished product at this point, and still a lot of questions with Tua, man. These receivers weren't winning last week. The RPO stuff that the only thing that really works for this offense wasn't working, and I have to think Bill Belichick will have a plan to shut down the RPO offense. I'm sure he's probably was watching what Mike Vrabel did very closely last week. So I think that's why this is a bit inflated. I'm on the Patriots side in this game. I just don't know if the Dolphins are going to be fired up for this one. I guess Belichick is coming down here. There is weird shit that happens whenever the Patriots come down to South Florida, it seems like. But, obviously that Gronk game from a few years back whenever the Dolphins pulled off that huge upset on the hook and lateral play. But I see a focused Patriots team coming in here to South Florida this week.
There's really very few props up on this game right now. I don't think there's anything, and we've got to get a step on the gas here, Tom, because the DFS show is coming up. So
we can't. The DFS guys are coming up here.
Yeah. Let's move on to Seattle and Arizona. Arizona laying 6.5 at home, 48 the total. Arizona can still win the NFC West, but the Rams need to lose. This could be the swan song for both Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. I don't expect both guys to be back next year. Could be one, could be the other, but I don't expect both to be back. No props on this game. Arizona laying 6.5, 48 the total.
Yeah, I took the Seahawks. The line moved to 7 at some spots. It was at DraftKings yesterday at 7. Maybe it'll pop back up here. I'm looking at the odds board. The Cardinals are minus 114 at 6.5 at FanDuel right now. So maybe some 7s start to pop back up. I kind of like the Seahawks at +7. The offense finally showed some. I know it was against the Lions, but finally showed some signs of life, like they looked at the beginning of the season. I think Rashad Penny is a big part of that. This offense revolves around its running game, and he's finally given them some stability and some big plays. And Russ finally showed a little bit of a connection with Metcalf last week. So I do think they wouldn't mind going. They obviously had the send off in Seattle last week, but I think they might relish the spoiler role here again. Cardinals want to win that NFC West title. And there's also the chance that if the Rams were smoking the 49ers, that the Cardinals really wouldn't have much to play for. They're not going to move up and overtake the Rams if they're up by multiple scores in that game. So, chance that the Cardinals could, outside chance that the Cardinals could pull their guys late if Rams were blowing out the 49ers. So, I think there's some good reasons to take the Seahawks this week. And yeah, I'm not totally convinced the Cardinals are back either. I thought that game last week was just the Cowboys shooting themselves in the foot constantly in that game. I didn't think the Cardinals looked a lot different than what we've seen the last 3 weeks when they went on a losing streak.
Finally, the Chargers at the Raiders. 49.5 is the total. Sunday Night Football. 3. The Chargers are laying in Vegas with 49.5 the total. For all intents and purposes, very likely a win and in game.
Yeah, I didn't have a strong. I wish I had a stronger take on this game. I ended up going with the Chargers for staff picks, but I think this line is properly set here at 3. Raiders, it has been a smoke and mirrors job here. Beating up on some backup quarterbacks, and then Carson Wentz coming off the COVID list. Didn't look very good in that game last week. So they might get Darren Waller back. That could have an impact on this line, I think. Got some limited practices in this week, so we'll see what happens here. If he is out, I think this line probably gets to 3.5. So, if you're looking to take I don't think it's getting to 2.5. If you're looking to bet with the Chargers here, I'd probably get the 3. If I was on the Raiders here, I would just sit it out. Wait it out, especially if Waller's out, I think it probably settles in at 3.5. So, just play the injury reports here, depending on what side you're going to bet on.
I'm actually kind of floored by how many props are available for this game, given we don't know about Darren Waller, but I guess it's pretty cut and dry for the Chargers. And, I mean, if you want to be a super cynic, the Raiders know they need to win this game because they're playing Nate Hobbs in this game. I mean, despite the fact that he was arrested for DUI, which is obviously a horrible look given what the franchise experienced earlier this year. But I have a full slate of props for the Chargers. Pretty full slate of props for the Raiders as well, with the exception of the tight ends, obviously, because we don't know about Darren Waller.
Yeah, Raiders still living by that just win motto from Al Davis. That's the only thing they apparently care about. But I took Keenan Allen under his receiving yards at 72.5. I did this a couple weeks ago, literally the only up game that he's had in the last month. He beat me. I got to 78 yards. I think the prop was 75.5 against the Chiefs on that Thursday night game. Going back to the well here, Raiders have been pretty stingy to receivers all year. Allen's been a little bit down here recently, and they shut him down earlier this season. So looking Keenan Allen under 72.5 here, but nothing else that really stood out. The board is a little bit more full here than when I looked earlier, though. I'm seeing some. It was mostly just Chargers guys that were up there. I'm seeing some Hunter Renfrow props, and I'll double back on that one. But Allen was the one that stood out to me. He's under 72.5. I think we have projected for about 60 yards on our projections. So I thought there was a little bit of value on the under. But yeah, betting numbers on these big time players is always a little scary. But
yeah, especially in a must-win game. All right, Tom, we got to get out of here because the DFS guys are coming into the room to talk. But we've got a full slate of games. We're going to be, I think Saturday morning is when we're going to do our playoff live stream these coming weeks here. And we're going to obviously be talking Super Bowl. We're going to have the Super Bowl contest and all that stuff.
Yeah, the Super Bowl, the prop contest, Joe. Woo! Gotta get ready for that again.
Together. Make sure you
people love that thing.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, we came up with that a couple of years ago, and I get a ton of entries in our personal one, and then we offer like a subscription on the site and whatnot, and it'll be a lot of fun. So make sure you go to fantasypoints.com. Enter. You're going to enter the contest when the contest is available for the Super Bowl, but make sure you get the early bird special, 30% off. You get all of this year's playoffs, all of the offseason, all of next season, and all of next season's playoffs, and it's 30% off. It's stupid. I don't know why we do it. It's dumb, but we should stop doing it, but we're still doing it, and it's up now through the Super Bowl. You get 30% off. That's ridiculous. All right. Tom Brolley, at Tom Brolley on Twitter. My name's Joe Dolan, at FG_Dolan. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Have a great one. Stay tuned for the DFS live stream.